Welcome to Brevard News, your home for real news in Brevard County. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. My name is Kevin Jeffrey, your moderator. Our guest today is Chuck Sheridan, candidate for District State Senate Seat 19. Welcome, Chuck. Thank you for being here. And our co-host, we have Katie Delaney, who is running for County Commission seat District 1, and also Estelle Bailey, who is the publisher of the Advocate's Voice online. Welcome, guys, to another show. Our quote for the week: when corruption has prevailed in those offices of government and has so familiarized itself as the men otherwise honest could look on it without horror, then we must be alive to the suppression of the odious practice and bring to punishment and brand with eternal disgrace every man guilty of it, whatever be his station. And this is Thomas Jefferson. Boy, they didn't mince words back then.
No.
And they took this serious, right, Chuck?
Yes.
Today, we kind of just wink, wink, nod, nod at bad stuff, right, Katie?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just.
I've read the Federalist Papers. Those are fun.
I love it. I mean, and so you have to go back to the foundation of what this country was meant to be.
Yes.
We've kind of gone away from that and watered down what those guys believed in, and it's just unbelievable. And that's why we like to bring some of the quotes to remind people of what we're supposed to be doing. And I think that sometimes we forget about it. We did want to give you this. This is the bad ordinance. Remember, we told you we were going to bring some of the ordinances to the forefront that are on the books in Titusville and around the county. Now, this is from the city of Titusville. Did you know that handbills and permitting, that you need to get a permit to hand those out? And this is under Article 1, Section 11.1 of the Titusville Ordinance or Licenses and Business Regulations. It shall be unlawful for any person to post or distribute handbills, pamphlets, dodgers, or any other literature without first obtaining a permit to be issued by the city clerk upon the concurrence of the administration. We have so many laws, and it's impeding on our freedom. This is not the way it was meant to be. The forefathers believed in limited government, and we really need to get back to that.
The thing that's
comment.
crazy about that is, that directly violates our First Amendment rights.
Correct.
I don't understand why the city of Titusville thinks that they have the authority to tell citizens that they can't hand out pamphlets.
And it gets even more involved than that. I mean, some of the restrictions.
Religious organizations.
Correct.
I had 2 members from the church come to my door the other day.
Why do you need a permit for that, Chuck?
Well, that I don't. I think the church separation of church and state.
Right.
I think I would like to see a bill that because of the ordinances we had, are the amendments to our Constitution that were funded by out-of-state companies that will profit by both of the amendments. I think that if you are paid employees of an organization and knocking on a door, that you need to disclose that you're a paid member of that organization, not
And that is a little bit
make an
different.
assumption that you're a volunteer.
That is a little bit different. You have a lot of that going on, right, Still,
Yeah.
where people are paid to do.
Right. And
work.
for me, it's about control. They want to
Okay.
control the information that's going out to the community. We've ran into this ourselves when it comes to door hangers. They don't want certain information going through the community without their approval. So I think a lot of it has to do with control.
And you have these kind of laws, and I think we need to get back to sound government, where there's limited government, where the people, again, are in control of what's going on, and that you don't have this bureaucracy that we seem to have. And that a lot of people think it's only on a national level, but on a local level, man, we have a bureaucracy that won't quit. The ethics rules softened by the state this week. Governor DeSantis signed a bill on softening the ethics rules, and by all account, what it looks like is that now, in order to file an ethics complaint, that you have to have not involvement, but you have to know the person or something personally about it.
Personal knowledge.
Personal knowledge of it. So the question is if you know have personal knowledge of it, aren't
You're
you complicit in it?
Yeah, exactly.
What? This doesn't seem to make sense to me. Chuck, what do you think about it?
I agree with you. And to have, I raised chickens as a kid, and I lost a lot of them at night with animals, and when I went to school, I never thought of hiring a fox to watch the hen house for me. And having the ethics committee made up of the the senators or the representatives is a fox watching the henhouse.
Or in my case, having raccoons. I have chickens too, boy, and I have problem with raccoons, Chuck. But you have a problem with this,
Right.
Katie, as far as you see a different side of it.
I have a problem with the whole. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical. Frankly, there are not many government entities that I trust. So the fact that there's this board of ethics, who are the people on this board? Do they have any conflicts of interest? Do they recuse themselves when a complaint comes forward and they're involved in some way or another? Most of the time, the answer is no. And so I what I have seen through my advocacy, there have been people out there who have used and abused the ethics process, and they try to tarnish people's reputations by filing false ethics reports. Now, one good thing that this does do is if you do file a false ethics report and they can prove it, the person filing could be in trouble, which, I mean, this whole thing is so dangerous. I mean, it just.
Do you think that it went too far? Do you think it didn't go far enough? Too far?
Honestly, I really feel like this is such a bigger conversation because I think that we need to get people back in office who have a conscience, who have a set of morals. I mean, for instance, our state's attorney, Phil Archer, I mean, we've had numerous things that we've sent him over the years with video evidence, and he still has denied going forward with those things.
So you would say the same thing still.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with those concerns, and I've also had similar issues regarding the state attorney's office and bringing forward complaints, and it just feels like that they align these boards with their friends and people that are going to make them appear good and to cover them in their unethical behavior. But I do believe there needs to be something in place, and we don't need to be discouraging our citizens. There's got to be
Right.
some kind of accountability along the line, because how do we address corruption face on if we are not, we don't have a process for that?
Went through 2 senatorial confirmations and appointed to the Building Code Administrators and Inspectors Board to fill the seat as the general contractor, architect, or engineer that oversaw the building departments. Well, I've built throughout the state. So I was on the probable cause committee, and I chaired the board, and I've had inspectors that were inspectors on my job that had probable cause found against them come before me. Now, I recused myself in those cases, if I knew them, but as a general contractor, I built a home in Windover Farms in Titusville. I mean, in Melbourne, and for a friend of mine's son, and I let him move in the house before we did our closing after we got our CO, and he still owed me $30,000, and he took and filed a complaint against me, and what he had done is take his water hose and sprayed the popcorn ceiling off his back porch drywall. And
So you've been on the other side.
I've been on
of
the
it.
other side of it.
So you
I've had
consider those
a frivolous complaint so they wouldn't have to pay the money they owed.
Okay.
But yeah, it's and Senate and House shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be the arbiters of
Yeah.
this.
They're not on the board.
Yeah.
So the Senate, no,
In
they
the ethics committee?
appoint people
Through the committee
to the
itself.
committee. Yeah, so they approve or deny the people appointed.
So now you can see, so from the frivolousness of it, you've encountered this week some frivolous things going on with regard, and you can see some of the things that happen that people make accusations. So now Katie Delaney has had this week someone send out information about a incident that happened with you, right? And they're making it look like this is something that you are.
Right.
Tell us about it. So a lot of it, for those who don't know, Katie Delaney got in the mail from a unidentified person, or her actually her supporters did, information about a record that you encountered when you were 19 years old.
So I was a brand new mom, and I was in the mall buying, looking for some new clothes, and my husband had called me, asked me to bring him some lunch, and like it needed to be pretty quick because he was in the military. So I was in a rush. I took the stuff off my stroller, put it to the side, and I proceeded to leave the store. And I didn't realize that I still had a pair of jeans on the bottom part of my stroller. And unfortunately, I was met with a store manager with a power trip, and he called the police. And it's something that happened. I wasn't ever intending to steal anything. I've never done anything like that before. Didn't try to do it that time, and I've never done it since. And it's funny because in the court records, it shows that adjudication was withheld, which means no conviction, and I pled no contest. So it's just it's really
Politics is
funny.
pretty dirty, isn't it?
Oh yeah, because it's
Yeah.
such a, I mean, it's the same kind of thing as, you walking out of a store on accident with a thing of waters under your cart, and you're like, oh gosh, I forgot I had those waters.
Or
You
like me
know.
a couple of weeks ago when I walked out as we were in the restaurant together and forgot to pay. Wasn't even thinking about it. It was a good thing that someone was treating me that
Right.
day. So, still, I mean, this is politics as usual.
They will even go out of their way to try to give you a record, and then even if your case is dismissed, they will take screenshots of the worst part of your record
Right.
to try to paint your character and to make people believe the character that they are trying to paint of you, the narrative. They
Right.
steer this narrative. And so I really think, something that you did at the age of 19, I think people need to take in consideration how long ago that was,
Right.
and the information. And if you're going to look at somebody's record, really look at it. I mean, dig into it, look at what you just said, because a lot of times these cases get dismissed, but they hold on to it and then they push it out to the masses as a way to damage somebody's character.
I've had information sent to me about my opponent, and I haven't used it. I, you know, I'm sure there's going to be dirt thrown at me, but
It's actually a compliment in a way. I mean, you only have this
I'm
happen when
looking forward to it because it makes a great story.
See it too is if they can't stand on the issues and the solutions and they start resorting to such low blow attacks,
Right.
to me that says you're doing something right and you're a threat to them.
Right. And see, the thing is that I am, the thing that they can't beat about me is that I'm one of the people. I'm a mom. I'm a horse trainer. I have a normal average life. But the thing is that I've been going to government meetings for 4 years, and I know the dirty business that all these people have been doing, and they're terrified that I'm going to get a hold of that microphone and speak about it.
Yeah, and you can see that there is a lot of terror and just some of the things that are happening. And you see that politics in Brevard County is a very interesting thing. And that book, The Good Old Boys, was written, The Good Old Boys of Brevard, was written for a reason.
Right.
And you can see it in action as we speak. The candidate, there's a opportunity for candidates drink and dinner at the O'Brady's coming up on the 17th. But before then, let's talk about this. The county commission is meeting this coming July 9th, Tuesday, July 9th, and
Yes.
something's happening there. What's going on?
Right. So at 3:30 on July 9th, on Tuesday, we're having a rally from 3:30 to 4:30 before the commission meeting. And we are going to be rallying everything from basically protecting our rights because of what happened at the last commission meeting. A bunch of people's First Amendment rights were violated.
And
And
there's a lawsuit going on against the county
Right.
commission as a result of
Right,
that, right?
exactly.
Okay.
And then the other thing is we are going to be standing in solidarity with our fire department because what the county commission is doing to our fire department is horrible. Especially, the fact that our county manager and county attorney gave themselves mega raises. I mean, it's It's insane. I'm getting you guys the numbers here. County manager, he got a 30% raise in a year, and our county attorney got 54% raise in a year. By the way, with no evaluations.
And
In what universe
And that
does that happen?
information has actually gone viral on social media. It's been viewed 10,000 times within a day. It's been shared hundreds of times. So there's this chart that's broke down. It's in Brevard Care Citizen Coalition Group. So if you guys want to look at that chart, there's a really great breakdown by Kristen showing you those raises and how it unfolded, and it's very interesting.
It's shameless. I mean,
Back to the firefighters, with underpaying the firefighters and EMTs, it allows the other communities and counties to poach them away
Right.
from us.
Right.
So we don't
happening.
keep the cream of the crop.
So what would your solution to that be, Chuck? If you were to
I've been working on that one, and I've
is that from a county commission standpoint? A lot of it is dealt with locally,
yeah, but
there's some influence.
there needs to be something at the state level on that, because there needs to be a minimum. I mean, we don't have enough firefighters in the state,
So
and this is a thing that I dealt with in 2004 after we had the tropical storms and hurricanes that devastated the whole state. We didn't have enough building inspectors. It would have taken 5 years to inspect the work, let alone do it. We had laws to bring in out-of-state contractors, but I was given an executive order by Governor Bush that to institute rule changes, because I had rule changing authority before going to the Attorney General for approvals, and we implemented rule changes, and we licensed almost 5,000 applicants in 3 months.
One of the major problems that we've been seeing is that the state has only given entry level raises and entry level bonuses to, or I'm sorry, new hire bonuses and entry level pay minimums. So, but our problem is not recruitment. Our problem is retention. And it's the same thing with the teachers. And Governor DeSantis, I'm calling you out right now because frankly, he knows this problem because he's been told it. I know I personally have spoken to his staff about this, and I know that the firefighters have spoken to his staff about this. So this is a retention problem. This is not a recruitment problem. And so not only can we fix it in the county, but I agree, the state has to step up and make sure our people are able to be funded. But as far as Brevard County goes, I mean, our county government has really dropped the ball on this. And this is a problem that our county government has created because somehow all of our surrounding counties have managed to figure it out.
Right.
So,
Hey, they're going somewhere, right?
right.
And there's a reason why they're leaving still.
The teachers, my stepdaughter was a physics teacher and statistics at Edgewood Senior High, advanced, and she quit teaching and was working at the Space Center because she's making double the money, and we're losing good teachers that are because of that.
We're losing qualified people
Qualified across the board.
across the board.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've got a solution for it, but it's
Hold that thought,
Yes.
Chuck. We're going to get to you. Coming up Tuesday, what is it going to happen here?
And people from all sides of the aisle that went to social media, they're all posting consistently the same flyer. It's getting shared into local groups. I think you've got the firefighters are fired up, but you also have a lot of people who want to come out and support them. And so if you are going to show up on Tuesday, we're encouraging everyone to wear yellow as a sign of support for your firefighters. You don't have to speak, but the more people who show up, who sit in that room to show your support, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so we'll see what happens on Tuesday, and I hope that you're not told off with your heads by Comrade.
It's interesting. They were supposed to have a policy made to justify taking people out of the commission meetings, and now they have decided to not put that policy on.
Really? I wonder why.
I know. But the attorney did send his warm regards, so when he was asked.
So so we hope that there's not a problem as there has been, in which people are denied their First Amendment rights. Some of them are interrupted while they're speaking. They're not even allowed to speak. And so this foolishness needs to stop, and hopefully it starts this coming Tuesday. Strategic planning by the citizens. Titusville wouldn't do it, so the citizens got together last Wednesday and engaged in strategic planning for Titusville. What
Yes.
happened there?
So I have to give a shout out to Kristen Lortie. She organized this event, and this was incredible. We had, I think, about 12 people show up to talk about the Titusville strategic plan. And the really interesting part is that it's, I have to give Titusville a point because they at least have one, but it really makes no sense. It's not cohesive. And so it needs a lot of work, but at least they have one. That's better than the county. So
So what is the purpose of the strategic plan, Stale? What are you trying to accomplish with that as a city?
Mostly education to the citizens so that they have the ability to take a bigger role in the strategic planning process. I mean, this is not for the faint of heart. It's not an easy thing to really understand or comprehend, and to have somebody who can really break it down and show us the discrepancies between, for instance, the city manager's his performance measures versus what's in the strategic goals and the plans. It was just really eye-opening, and I think it was more for education, if anything, so that way it was arming the citizens with enough knowledge to go in and be a part of that process and to make the city better. The bones are there. We're trying to put the meat on the bones.
Excellent.
And the
Go ahead.
thing is that none of it matched. So the evaluations, the strategic goals, none of it was cohesive. So that's not really effective. And what a strategic plan is basically a plan for your city or your county for the next 5 years. It's how you have measurables, you have goals. And if you don't have those things, what are you doing? So,
You're just kind of wandering.
right.
don't
And when you're
No
plan to
point.
fail.
right, and so when you're
That's what
talking
happens.
about millions, and in the county's case, billions of dollars, and you don't have a plan, it's very dangerous. So I think that all the cities and the county should definitely be getting a strategic plan.
As far as Chuck is concerned, in your campaign, you have a strategic plan.
I have a
Mr.
strategic-
Sheridan,
I have
and
a
you are
strategic
running
plan.
for State Senate seat 19.
Yes, I do.
And so you finished 10 points behind Randy Fine in the straw poll a couple of weeks
10
ago.
votes.
Yeah, 217 to 227, right? 10 votes.
10 votes.
Okay,
And
were you
then there were
surprised?
20 votes for the Democrat.
20 votes for the Democrat. Were you surprised by that?
No.
Why not?
I've been out there at meetings. I've been talking to the people. I've got a history here in Brevard County. I know, the history, and I think that this seat needs somebody that understands the history. I mean, did you know that the Kennedy Space Center owns the Indian River all the way out to the Intercoastal, from the Barge Canal all the way around, and at the causeways all the way to US 1.
So you believe
And
that?
so and Gerald Ford had an act in 1964 put in place that said that when he bought the Merritt Island Wildlife Refuge for $500 million, they had a budget of $779 million. The other money put in escrow, and there's language that says, should there ever be, it was to preserve the lagoon system the way it was then. And if there were any changes, whether it was caused by NASA, man, or God, that the government would pay for it. And I don't know why nobody's brought this up.
So where's the money?
Huh?
Where's the money?
So I'd like to know. The federal government's kept it, I guess. And it also states in there that, that the land is used, they exempted from sales tax, and they met with businesses all over. It's an interesting read, Gerald Ford Library. That they met with businesses all over the state that, to exempt for sales tax, they were going to locally source everything. And there's a paragraph after that, that says that should NASA ever lease facilities to the private sector, that they be subject to the same business tax, sales tax, state tax as any other business in the county or community, that puts it on a fair playing field so that we could have a high-tech AI business here in Titusville or doing CRISPR research at Jess Parish, and and not have lower taxes. I mean, there's $1 billion worth of businesses
So
out
is that
there.
the one thing you're for is, making sure the federal properties out there?
No, I'm making sure the private industry out there pays their taxes, buys their business license, just like I had to. If yeah.
So tell
So
me, if you had to say, because we're for time constraints, what did you see the top two problems in Brevard County?
the top two problems in Brevard County are our infrastructure. We've grown beyond our capacity, and we're way beyond concurrence. And it's not just a county problem; it's a statewide problem. Uh, we've every township or city, county facility, except for Indian Harbor Beach, is beyond their capacity on water and sewage. And you shouldn't be giving tax abatements to. I've built a lot of apartment communities, and I'm looking at these going up that are considered affordable housing. They're nicer than, I built Malabar Lakes and Park Village in Melbourne and Palm Bay. They're nicer than that, and they were considered high-end apartment projects when I built them. And these people are getting a tax abatement, which is driving our property taxes up, our values up on our single-family homes, and higher. My mother pays she lives my dad built her house in 65, and he passed away in 79, and she lives off Social Security. He was a disabled vet, but he died prior to that law going in place, so she doesn't get the disabled vet exemption. Her property taxes are half of what she gets in Social Security.
So Chuck, somebody's going into the booth, and you're trying to convince them why they should vote for you. Why should they vote for you?
Because I know the history in this county. I've got experience in Tallahassee in government. I've gone through 2 senatorial confirmations. I've had a executive order giving me the right to make law changes. I understand how Tallahassee works. I've got a strong knowledge, and I've won one affordable housing project I did in Orlando, won the multifamily affordable housing project of the year, renovation project of the year. I've received community service awards from Sheriff Barry over there and the fire marshal in Orlando for that project. I've got experience with affordable housing. I've got experience with growth. I've got experience with growth management, and and Tallahassee experience.
How
So
can people get in contact with you?
you can email me at chuck@votechucksheridan.com, or you can Instagram me at votechucksheridan.com or votechucksheridan, or you can call me at 321-258-3213, or you can go on Facebook, Chuck Sheridan for Florida Senate District 19 is our group, and I can't get any friend requests on my side anymore because I've gone too many.
Thanks for being on with us. Appreciate it. That brings us to my 2 cents. This week we celebrated the 248th birthday of America, a country founded upon citizen government. Yet 248 years later, the country is not living out the true meaning of independence. By all estimates, Brevard County represents the second or third most conservative county in Florida, but it's being run wholly by Republican leadership. Yet officials on the county commission operate consistently in violation of First Amendment and property rights, who view big government as the answer for every problem. The same group treats the people with contempt and bristle at the thought of abiding by the Constitution. The Titusville City Council has a councilman who is operating in conflict of interest. He is voting on ordinances that ingratiates a lobbyist with whom he is in business, and there's no outcry at all from the elected leaders. The only skin in the game for freedom-loving Americans is whether or not we are operating at any time by the dictates of the Constitution. It should never be a matter of who is right. It should always be a matter of what is right. You cannot have freedom of any sort if there is no truth. We have grown accustomed in our country to lies and liars. Yet it is the absence of truth that is the source of the erosion of the Constitution. It was Edmund Burke who said, "The people never give up their liberties, but under some delusion." We are being deluded today by men in office who is running, or those who are also running for it. Check the Brevard Secretary of Elections website on who's contributing to who, and you'll find out there are a lot of people on the take. You see, they are in delusion and they're deluding the people, and it's getting thicker and thicker. You have to be the arbiter of it. We, the people. And that's my 2 cents. Thanks for joining us this week on Brevard News. Thanks to Chuck Sheridan for joining us, and also to our co-host Dale, and
Thank you,
also
sir.
to Katie. And you have a wonderful week. Remember to share, like, and subscribe to our podcast. I'm going to get that out one of these days in a very good way. You have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.